Shout out to my buddy Austin who gave me this Bridge Wintertide. This is a sink tip head, okay? I wouldn't call it a Skagit head, but I'm gonna use Skagit techniques to cast it. Out and around, continuous motion, as much continuous motion as I can muster up. And I've got an OPST 12 foot, 136 grain sink tip on it, okay? And then I have a really cool traditional style fly on an Alec Jackson hook that I tied. Really proud of it. I'll show it to you. And I'm casting it with this, probably maybe the best spay rod ever made. The G. Loomis Asquith 813.6 This thing is phenomenal. I'm not gonna tell you why, but it is phenomenal. So you can get the OPST stuff. You can get the, I think they might have a 6-weight Asquith in stock. They're sold out. They're popular rod. But Fin and Firefly Shop, shout out to them. Casting sink tip with the longer head, okay? Call it a shooting head. It's the Bridge Wintertide. It's for a little bit. These are cool lines because you can put a sink tip, moderate to light sink tip on it. This is probably as heavy as I might go just for personal preference. You can put a Rio 15-foot replacement tip, floating tip on this and have basically a 40 some odd foot floating head, similar to the Bridge Tributary, which is a fabulous line. Maybe the coolest line in that category. There's some good ones in there, but this is one of my favorites. It's just fabulous. So with this Wintertide, it's like a chopped Tributary for tips, but you know, kind of beefed up in certain places. You know, with these longer lines, I have a tendency to think I need to lengthen my stroke. You know, and that kind of makes sense. A longer line, you want to lengthen your stroke in some cases, but in this case, I want to lengthen my stroke in a out and around martini glass fashion, where I'm going out and around and trying to cast while the rod is tensioned up from the out and around before the line loses tension and gets slack in it. That's the primary thing I'm trying to do. And the other thing I'm trying to not do is I just threw this on, just playing with it, you know, trying to see what a clean cast I could get, how I could hit the sweet spot. And I noticed right off the bat, if I just let myself go and don't use my brains and my knowledge, pretty soon I'm trying to sweep and get back here and then cast it, and I'm using my back. My back tightens up, and it's like, so I made a mental note. I'm not gonna put a bunch of unwanted body English. Casting Skagit style out and around continuous motion, to me, is in the wrists and the hands. You've got to get good with your wrist. Out and around. You can use your wrist or kind of swivel it around like that. So I just want to sweep and keep everything in front of me. So if I get back here, I start using my back, my lower back. But if I can keep things right in here and cast out and around, over the top and forward, you gotta fight the urge to muscle it. You just want to hit the sweet spot and cast, Skagit cast with your hands. Okay, the body stays locked, you know, but you don't want to tense up and get sore. Of course, my first inclination was to think, well, you know, I should use a lighter sink tip, blah, blah, blah. And then I really had to focus on being machine-like and just using my hands, keeping my hands kind of hip width and close together, and prying on that rod and not rearing back and heaving it. I'm not doing a linear cast. I'm not doing it in straight lines. I'm not gonna sweep and then cast like that. I'm gonna swivel my wrists, keep the rod out in front of me, and fight that urge. See, I don't want to like sweep and then watch the fly and then watch the D-loop, and then when it's light and half the D-loops or half the sink tips in the air, and then try to cast like that. I don't want it to be that hard. That doesn't really work for me. What I want to do is just feel the weight in my hands as I go around, figure out a nice tempo to keep tension in there, and then go around and cast in a circular motion and cast before the fly sinks, sink tip sinks, and the slack goes in the line, okay? Those are the things I really want to concentrate on. So I'm gonna go like that, okay? Now, I just used the feel. I went all by feel, because when I'm fishing, you know, I look at my D-loop when I'm fishing sometimes, or I watch what I'm doing, but you go by feel a lot, right? So if I just feel it and cast it without overthinking it, you don't have to really watch the fly, watch for it to pirouette. I just go around and cast and don't worry about, I let that part take care of itself. So I'll do a few more out here. What I want to do is make the sweep and the forward cast without getting linear, stay out and around, okay? Okay, so that's what I'm after. I like to use a Perry poke or a snake poke. You can use it with a snap tee or a circle cast if you want. I just prefer to fish that way. It's neither here nor there. But I'm still gonna do it. Let me get that fly close in front of me for this. Hey, that one didn't go off as good. You gotta get the timing right. And with a line this long, you can really, okay, my anchor's closer, you can really peel. Okay, that time it hit the end, so I'll give it a couple more strips. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 strips. We got a 30-foot head, 12-foot sink tip, 3-foot leader, 13.5-foot rod. So that's a decent fishing cast. Okay, time it went all the way out, but I pinched it pretty hard between my hands. Got a little bit of a tailing loop. Okay, let's try it again. Got our 10 strips. Gonna get that anchor close by. Kind of, okay. Okay, there's a nice, smooth, easy cast. My timing was perfect, and I just tried not to use my arms to get back here. I'm trying to use all wrist out and around and cast. That way, I'm not hurting my back. You can use this cast with any kind of line, any kind of short-ish line. This being 30 feet with a tip is, no, it's no commando, although this works great with commandos. Okay, that time I didn't sweep around and build the tension. I cast it prematurely. I took the cake out of the oven too early. Got in a hurry and cast too early. Now I'll do it one more time. boom, could have gone more. So out and around. I'm not hung up on if it's continuous motion, but I'm trying to not go back and forth. I'm trying to keep, see, if you keep everything right here, the rod does the work. It's a $1,500 rod. I want to use at least 1,400 bucks worth on the Skagit cast. Try it from a different angle, maybe. Okay, I'm close to the can. That went off. That hit the sweet spot. Now I'm starting to like this. I'm starting to get used to it. It's really casting sweet, but it requires excellent technique. And this isn't just like this is the only way to cast. This is the best way for me to cast, just using my hands and wrists and forearms, so I'm not wiped out by the end of the day of fishing, because I have to use my lower back and I'm trying too hard to muscle the rod. So let's try it with I'll do a high sweep. Okay, same thing. I can make a high sweep. You know, the camera's right here, so I have to have my rods around it, so I need to sweep high. And you could time it and sweep high and get the same effect if you don't want to really do a bunch of water peeling. I'll try it again. Maybe I'll try a double spay. Oh, that was even better. Okay? Because you can sweep so high and so slow, and you don't need to worry about when I do it this way, I don't really need to worry about anything except how slow I can actually go. See, I can go. It was a little tougher because I went so high, but the idea is you don't really have to worry about the rod loading. You just keep it swinging around so you can barely feel it and bomb it out there. Had to use a little more forward cast because I didn't have as much tension. I'll try it again. Try it. Ugh. That time you heard the anchor blow a little bit. Try it again. Okay, let's just plop the fly. It's down there ways. Oh, that's money. Very little effort. Sweet way to cast, fun way to cast. It keeps you from hurting your back. Really disciplines you to use your hands. I really enjoy this. I'm gonna ruin the whole video by trying to do it left-handed. Ha! Got away with one. Anyway, fun.